United Nations investigation has alleged that Ugandan troops assisted South Sudan's military in carrying out deadly airstrikes that killed and severely burned civilians during fighting in 2025, raising international concern about Uganda's role in the ongoing conflict in the region. According to a report by the UN Commission on Human Rights in South Sudan, joint aerial bombardments carried out by forces from Uganda and South Sudan targeted areas populated by civilians, partially regions largely inhabited by members of the Nuer ethnic community, South Sudan's second largest ethnic group and a stronghold of opposition forces. The investigation says the attacks involved incidental materials that ignited homes and left civilians with severe burns. Witnesses told UN investigators that several victims were burned beyond recognition after houses were engulfed in flames during the bombardments. The report states that Ugandan forces entered South Sudan in March 2025 with military hardware including tanks and armored vehicles. The deployment occurred shortly after a militia overran a South Sudanese military garrison near the Ethiopian border, escalating tensions in the region. Ugandan troops are deployed in South Sudan to support the government of President Salva Kiir, which has been fighting forces loyal to opposition leader Riek Machar. Machar, who previously served as vice president, was later placed under house arrest and is currently facing criminal charge, including treason allegations he denies. Investigations say the South Sudanese government increasingly relied on aerial bombardment to gain an advantage in the widening conflict with Machar's forces and other armed groups. Evidence referenced in the report includes flight tracking data showing that a turboprop aircraft that circled the area during one of the bombing incidents had arrived earlier from Uganda and was reportedly operated by the Ugandan military. The report also referenced a social media post made a day after one of the attacks by General Myhoozi, Uganda's top military commander and son of President Yoweri Museveni. In the post, which was later deleted, he indicated that Uganda had bombed opposition forces and said the air offensive would continue until Riek Machar reached peace with President Salva Kiir. However, Ugandan authorities have denied participating in attacks against civilians. Kampala insists its troops are stationed in South Sudan at the invitation of the government in Juba and in accordance with the bilateral security agreement between the two countries. Ugandan officials have also denied accusations that their forces used chemical weapons or improvised barrel bombs during military operations in South Sudan. The allegations have drawn criticism from international leaders. The chairman of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Jim Risch, said the findings could trigger a reassessment of relations between the United States and Uganda. In a statement posted on social media, Risch said Uganda had shifted from a reliable security partner to an exporter of brutality, adding that the evidence should prompt a review of bilateral relations and accountability for individuals responsible for atrocities. Uganda has previously intervened militarily in South Sudan, including during the 2018 civil war when Ugandan forces supported President Kiir's government against rebel forces and helped prevent the capital Juba from falling to opposition fighters. The renewed fighting threatens South Sudan's fragile 2018 peace agreement that ended years of civil war between Kiir's government and Machar's opposition forces. The deteriorating security situation has also affected humanitarian operations. South Sudan's military recently ordered United Nations peacekeepers and humanitarian organizations to vacate the town of Akobo within 72 hours as government troops battled opposition fighters in Jonglei State, one of the epicenters of the conflict. The UN Commission says further investigations are needed to determine the full extent of Uganda's involvement and establish accountability for civilian deaths linked to the airstrikes.